My name is Jim McEwan and I'm currently the Chairman of Care South. I'm very proud of Care South, yes. I was dragged along to a meeting in Nowra where the local youth refuge was being shut down, and a lady I knew through football, because I'd coached one of the local teams, asked me to go along because she was horrified they were going to close down the refuge. And I went to the meeting and I was horrified. There was screaming and crying, and the people from community services were being abused solidly. And the whole story was that there wasn't enough money from the state government to keep it going. And I only went along as an observer, and they decided to call for a new committee to run the refuge. And someone nominated me, someone I don't even know who they were. And I say this woman put them up to it, and she worked for Family Support, I think. And so I found myself on the steering committee to form a new committee to run the refuge. I'd read an article in the paper about aunties and uncles in Sydney. And anyway, I thought, oh, that's a good thing. I think my kids had left home, my two boys, and I thought that's something I'd like to do. I had a big house on the water, and I thought, it'd be good. So I rang them up, and they sent down a guy who was actually living at Foxground, who was a director of Aunties and Uncles in Sydney. He came down and interviewed me, which took about 3 minutes, and said, yes, I was okay, I was approved as an uncle under the Auntie and Uncle scheme. But at the same time, I got a call from Docs, asked me to foster a boy full time. So I thought if I fostered a boy, I'd have to put all my time into that. So I didn't follow up on the Aunties and Uncles, but I did feel a bit guilty. So I said I'd help them get it started in Nowra. So I became on the management committee, I guess. I formed a management committee anyhow with the guy from Foxground, and we started up Aunties and Uncles in Nowra. And so the two were running side by side, two different committees. And I got sick of going to two lots of meetings, and I did all the running of both businesses from my own office where I was getting my paid work, and had the bright idea about midnight one night that we combined the two together so that I didn't have to go to two lots of meetings more than anything, or as much as anything. And that's what we did, and that's where we formed an organisation called Shoal Care, which was really a combination of aunties and uncles and the youth refuge. My skill, because we had our own business, we started up our own business, I think we had $100 each. We started up a business in Sydney and decentralised to Nowra, and became one of the biggest employers in Nowra, mainly through luck more than anything. But my skill, if I had any, was getting the best out of people. The people who were my partners were much better at doing what they did than I was, but I was able to help keep us all together, and so that's how our business became successful, and I was in a position then where I could actually put time into running these other. So we used to run these other two organisations from my office at work, and we did all the payment of wages and did everything from work, and I was the accountant and the manager, and my role was executive director, I was called, which was really sort of unpaid managing director, I guess, of the two organisations, or the one organisation as it became. I hate seeing kids being wasted, and even the footy team that I coached, which were the under-13s, there were lost kids in that team, and I was quite good with the kids, so I guess in a way that sort of made me think I could do something. I think I grew up in a perfectly normal family. I was the oldest of 6 kids, so I had a terrific life. And I think every kid should have a terrific life. So I thought maybe I could make some contribution. I knew I wasn't a welfare worker or anything like that, but I was good at getting things going and keeping them going. So that's what I did. I think everybody wants to make a difference, don't they? Only a little difference, but a difference, yep. The core values haven't changed, which was really doing the best for kids that we can possibly do, or for people with disabilities as it eventually added to it. But so that hasn't changed at all. It's been a theme that's existed from day one and still exists. Deb, I would say, is the one with the vision. I think I'm the one who did whatever had to be done to get us where we were going. But Deb is the one who inspires and provides a vision for the organisation and will take us into the future. And I actually feel now that I can quietly drift away because someone better than me has taken it over and is running with it. Well, the thing that always motivated me and still does motivate me is the fact that we're helping kids get a better life and not seeing their lives wasted. And I'm quite passionate about that. Docs had asked me whether I'd take this boy who apparently had been driving them mad to find foster parents for him. And according to him, he'd had 18 placements prior to that, and they never worked out. I think he was exaggerating, but he'd had quite a lot. And so the local Docs caseworker, whom I'd met, I think, earlier, came to me and said, would I be interested in taking this boy, which I did, which I said I would. I went over and met him, and I was absolutely horrified that there were all these fantastic kids all looking for someone. And that on the day that I took my son home with me permanently, 4 other boys got in the car and wouldn't get out. And it was very distressing. And some of those boys I remember one boy in particular who was a very, very angry boy. He'd been raped constantly from the age of 4 by his father and his grandfather, and all he wanted to do was go back home. And I found that very distressing, and it sort of made me wish I could do a lot more than I actually did. So in a way that probably inspired me a bit to do more. You might think I have given a lot, but I've got far more out of it than I've ever given. The thing I get out of it always is seeing people grow and develop and achieve things that they may not have done in the past, and that I've been a small part of helping that, that's all. A lot of satisfaction. I mean, probably what you said before is I wanted to make a bit of a difference, and I probably made a little difference, that's all, in some people's lives. And it's good. I mean, you can't just live and die and done nothing. I did try and get my friends involved in fostering, for example, or even in the Aunties and Uncles program, and I discovered that people are generally very scared to have a stranger come into their lives. And I think they have to understand there's nothing to be scared about. It's the reward, the satisfaction you get from seeing someone come into your life and become part of your life far outweighs any difficulties that might happen at the start. So if you're even slightly tempted, please contact us, because I'm sure you'll get a lot out of it, a lot more than you put into it.